Okay, how do you handle the matter of racial issues when witnessing, dealing with people of another culture, another race, or second, when training men and desiring to see them be able to reach out to others as well?
This is Master Ministry. Tips, tools, and truths to advance eternal effectiveness in ministry. I'm your host, Douglas Hammett. Let's move into the broadcast now.
Okay, how do you handle the matter of racial issues when witnessing, dealing with people of another culture, another race, or second, when training men and desiring to see them be able to reach out to others as well? Very good question, both of those. And they're both really wrapped up in John chapter number 4, the answer to them in my estimation. Jesus had his disciples with him as he traveled, and in chapter number 4 and verse number 4 of John, it says he must needs go through Samaria. He took his disciples with him for one purpose, and it was in order to meet the woman at the well and be able to talk to her about her eternal welfare. When he got there, of course, they took off looking for food. I like to say they went off to KFC looking for chicken. But Jesus stayed for the real meat, the real purpose, and that was to be able to meet with a woman who came to the well. When she got there, he said to her, "Give me to drink." I think it's about verse number 6. You can look it up for yourself. But he said, "Give me to drink." Now, first glance, the way that's said, I taught my kids to say please and thank you. He didn't say please. Okay, we need to think about culture, etc. How did Jesus say that? There's basically two ways, and I think tone of voice probably had more to do with it than anything. One would be in a demanding way, or the second way would be in a kind manner, really a request in the way that it was said. And looking at Jesus and looking at his character, I think there's only one way I can interpret it. He must have said it in a kind way, in a requesting way, not in a manner of demanding of her because he was her superior. But notice her response in the next verse, where she says to him, "How can you, as a Jew, have any dealings with me who am a Samaritan? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans." She immediately brings up the race issue, thus, we could say, cutting off any witnessing attempts. Now, the way that she asked that, again, could be in two different ways. One, she could have said it in a very harsh, coarse manner. And again, tone of voice is going to tell the difference, and I'm not sure which it is. Or number two, she could have been asking in a very sincere, genuine manner. I kind of lean towards the second, that she was quite sincere about it all. And I say that because I think Jesus was kind in his asking. She's a lady out in the middle of nowhere, out by the well, all by herself, with this man who could easily overpower her. Maybe she's giving him lip. I don't think so. I think that she is instead asking him because of the kindness of his request, and she recognized the genuineness there, and she felt comfortable enough to be able to ask him the question, well, genuinely, "Why are you as a Jew even talking to me as a Samaritan? This doesn't fit." Obviously, race issue, whichever way you look at that, whichever way she may have meant it, the race issue was a problem to her. Jesus sidesteps it and yet kind of rebukes it when he says to her, he says in the next verse, "If you knew who it was that said to you, 'Give me drink,' and if you knew what the gift of God was, you would have asked of me, who can give you that gift of living water." And so Jesus sidesteps and yet in a gentle way rebukes her question, basically saying, "I'm not going to answer that. What you need is something that's far more important." Now, here's our lessons for the day, quickly, okay? Number one, when witnessing to people, there are going to be people that the very first thing they're going to see, and we can expect it, they are going to see our skin. They're going to see our culture, hear our voice, and know we're from another place, especially if we're missionaries in some place, or in the United States, if you're in the north and you're from the south, or you're from the south, or I'm sorry, from the north and you're in the south, immediately people always pick up on it. And whether they say something or not is probably going to be in the back of their mind. How did Jesus deal with it? He went right on and went to the heart of the issue. He talked about the spiritual need in her life. I suggest you and I do the same in witnessing and speaking to people, and not allow ourselves to get caught up in all the racial overtones of our day. Now, when I'm talking racial overtones, hey, I'm even talking about the American issue of, are our borders open or are they not? Now, I think there's two issues here, okay? I guess I'm going to get in deeper than I really wanted, okay? I consider myself a patriotic American. I am concerned about America. I don't believe in open borders for illegal aliens coming in. I think people that come in should come in and follow the law. It's just really that simple. On the other hand, I have no problem with legitimate immigration, people coming to our country, and I wish our borders were more open in that sense than what they are. Thinking in our day, we need background checks, etc. But at the end of the day, whoever I am put in front of, the issue for me is not to worry about whether the law is being followed or whatever. My goal is to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to them, to love them in spite of where they come from and in spite of the differences, and not allow those differences to get between them and me. Wow, those guys are crazy. Okay, that woke us up, huh? But my goal is to get the gospel to them, and not to spend all my time trying to talk about the racial problems between the peoples. And I need to keep them focused on what is really important. That's basically what Jesus did. He said, it's the gift of God that is most important. Now, the lady could have walked away at that point. And as I deal with people, I see people all the time who walk away who, because of racial issues, have decided they don't want anything to do with me. I'm here in an African country. This is the second African country I've lived in now. And I've seen a lot of racial problems here because of my race, because I am white. Yes, I have seen that. I have seen oppression, etc. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. I'm not here for that purpose. I'm here to tell people about Jesus Christ. I'm looking for people who are open enough to truth that they will hear the truth. Second, training men. Here's my second lesson. When training men, these men that were following Jesus had been with him for maybe 4 months tops. They've not been with him very long at all. And here he is taking them right into the Samaritan area, Samaria, and making them confront the issue of racial issues. The Jews don't like the Samaritans, generally speaking. Samaritans don't like the Jews. And yet Jesus plops his men right in the middle of it. I tell you what, it's pretty exciting to watch him do that. And he's basically making a statement to them by doing this, in my estimation, and it is this. If you want to serve me, you're going to have to get over the racial issues, and let's get on with what I'm all about, and that's reaching men. So let me just encourage you that when it comes to ministry issues, you and I, we really ought to be colorblind, we really ought to be race blind, and we really ought to be concerned about every people group in this world like Jesus was. Take the men that we're training and put them in situations where they can get tested by loving people that are different than them. And when we confront the racism and it's coming back at us, instead of getting flustered and upset, do what Jesus did. Keep the focus on the main thing, the gospel of Jesus Christ. God bless you. Let's go make a difference, shall we?
Thanks for listening. You know your ministry does not have to stagnate or die. If you want to get out of the box and into the book, get some help right now. Give me a shout at pdhammett masterministry@gmail.com. We'll discuss what you need and recommend a course of action. Get in touch with me. You can also find tips, tools, and truths to advance eternal effectiveness in ministry and make an eternal impact at masterministry.com. Thanks for listening. Now let's go make a difference.